Hello, we are live, and hello to you folks who are currently waiting, sitting around waiting. Please let me know in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. Give me a thumbs up or a one in the chat if everybody can hear me properly and everything is working. Give me a one in the chat if you can hear me and everything is working. Let's let the people on Instagram know that we are live. Let me know where you're tuning in from, please. I see one question already in the chat. We're live on YouTube, telling the people on Instagram to join us over here on YouTube. We're live. Come and join us. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from in the chat. Don't be quiet. Don't be silent. We're waiting for a few more people to join as we kick things off. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Also, I want to know if you're interested in studying in Canada, working in Canada, or open to either. So give me a one if you are trying to study in Canada, or two if you are wanting to work in Canada, three if you're open to anything, and four if you're already in Canada and you're trying to figure out your next move. Let me know what's going on in the chat, guys. Please. Four, okay, you're already in Canada trying to figure things out. Three, open to anything. Good. Hi from Kenya. All right. You are interested in working in Canada. Cool. Coming to study, how can you bring your children? Great question. We're definitely going to tackle that one. As people filter in, let me know. One, if you're interested in studying in Canada. Two, if you are wanting to work in Canada. Three, open to anything. Four, you are already in Canada trying to figure out your next move. Edward, are you a student? Are you on a postgraduate work permit? What's your status? Yes, Kim. Okay, so you're coming to study in Canada in 2024. And if you already have your study permit, yay you, because you missed that need to show more money for proof of funds. So yes, I'm a student. Cool, Edward. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. As people filter in, let me know where you guys are from. Where are you tuning in from? Sanjay and Kim. I think there's two Kims on here. Kim 1 and Kim 2. Barbados, nice. Cool, we know that Nora is in Kenya. Edward, where are you originally from? You are in Canada right now studying. Okay, hi Sanjay from Jamaica. Welcome. Big up yourself. Nigeria. Cool. All right. As you filter in, guys, people are popping in. Just let us know where you are from and we'll kick things off shortly. Let us know where you're from and let me know if you are trying to study in Canada. Put a one in the chat. Work in Canada. Put a two in the chat. Open to anything. Put a three and a four if you're already in Canada. Oh, nice. When you were here, okay, so Kim, you came back. You just came back from a 3-week trip in Canada. Nice. 1 and 2. Okay. 1 and 2. Oh, I guess Kim, I thought that you were already en route to coming to Canada to study. So I guess you're still figuring it out, right? You're either or. And you came to visit to scope out the ground. That's good. Just finished undergrad. So either school or work would be possible options. Cool. Glad to have you guys here. As you guys pop in, let me know where you are from in the chat. New people, welcome. We're going to start. I'm going to start in about 2 to 3 minutes as I let more people filter in and more people check their emails and all these wonderful things. By the way, if you are not on my email list, please join so that you can get updated on things like this. If you are, thank you for being part of my community. Remember, guys, let me know where you're from if you're just tuning in. 1 in the chat for studying in Canada, 2 for work in Canada, 3 open to anything, and 4 already in Canada. Also explored expatriate route, which didn't seem lucrative for me. So far, I've applied to about 15 colleges. Good for you. Good for you, Kim. And what are you trying to study? What's your program? All right. 2, Nora is interested in working in Canada. Hello from Trinidad. Des, let me know if you are wanting to study in Canada. Put a 1 in the chat. 2, if you are trying to work. 3, if you're open to anything. And 4, if you are already in Canada. Des, you said you're from Trinidad, so I'm guessing that you're still in Trinidad. But what is your interest in Canada? 1, work. 2, study. No lie. 1, study. 2, work. And 3, open to anything. Welcome, guys. As you filter in, put where you're tuning in from in the chats. Okay, so we're at the 5-minute mark. 2 and 3. Okay, working and open to anything. Cool, which is really a 3. All right, so we are going to kick things off. Thank you guys for participating in the chat and letting me know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to give you like a recap of 2023. I'm also going to ask you questions so that you guys can let me know how you feel about some of the changes that have happened over the last few months, really close to the end of the year. But 2023 was a very eventful year for immigration. So as I ask you to put things in the chat, just interact with me, help me to know where you are, how you feel about stuff, especially for the people who want to study in Canada, because some of the major changes that happened were around studying in Canada. So let's go. So first of all, there was a new immigration minister that was appointed, Mr. The Honorable Mark Miller, who is coming in now and making a lot of changes that probably should have been made over the last 20 years. And he's kind of like, oh, this needs to be updated, and he's updating it in one fell swoop. So I think we're going to see things evolve and change as he gets seated in his position right now. So it's always good to keep on top of the immigration changes and how things are evolving and to see how they affect you, because sometimes things can kind of change overnight. And hi, Alphas, Happy New Year. Things can change overnight and they can affect your plans significantly. So keep on top of things. So that's the first change that kind of happened. He is from Quebec. When I heard that, I didn't know how I felt, because Quebec is almost like its own country. It wants to be its own country anyway. And everything in immigration is kind of like, oh, you can do this immigration route except for Quebec. That's like a consistent theme. So we will see how Mr. Mark Miller turns around and shakes up our immigration system. Let's see. The second change was a kind of announced, not second change, but one of the other changes for 2023 was that close to the end of November 2023, they announced the immigration levels. And this is something that happens every year. So at the end of every year, they say, okay, these are our targets for the next 3 years. So the biggest change we saw is that the numbers of people that they are allowing to apply for permanent residency in Canada, or the people that they're targeting, is 500,000 people. And that's kind of capped off at 2020 in 2025, and then will remain the same in 2026, which is not usual. Usually the numbers go up and up and up and up and up. So that is definitely a change. But I think that they just did that to buy some time, because here comes this new immigration minister, right? Close to the end of the year when things are going to be announced, and they don't really have time to process how they want things to go or how they want things to change. So they just said, you know what, let's just leave it at 500,000 and let's take the time to figure out what we're going to do, and then we'll change it. So that's what I think. So I think that at the end of 2024, we're going to see an update in those numbers. So I just see in the chat here that Kim is not so happy about the increase in proof of funds for studying. Yes, Kim, I'm going to get to that point down here. I want everybody's sentiment on how they feel about that, because, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it too. I don't really like how it just went boop. But anyways, here's the thing with the immigration levels that I think is just my analysis of the system, right? I think that immigration will not end anytime soon, because the problems that they are trying to solve by bringing immigrants in Canada, they are also causing by bringing immigrants to Canada. Because if there's a labor shortage, imagine there's a labor shortage in healthcare, right? So the current population needs people in healthcare to fill the needs of the current population. But then you bring 500,000 people in, some of which are going to fill those shortages, but also those people have needs, right? Those new grown immigrants and their families have needs, all 500,000 of them. And so I think there's going to be this endless cycle of needing people while you add more people to fill the needs of the people. You get what I'm saying? So I think that it's going to be an almost endless cycle, which is a good thing for you if you're not in Canada yet. If you're worried about how things are going to go in immigration, I don't think it will turn down or end anytime soon, because when you bring 500,000 people into a country, they need homes, they need healthcare, they need schools, they need groceries, they need gas, and all of those things are going to, I think, contribute to labor shortages while they fill the labor shortages. So this just means that if you are interested in coming to Canada, the opportunities will be there at least for the next 5 years. And you just need to figure out how Canada can serve you and how best to go about it, right? The best thing you can do is pay attention to where there are labor shortages. If you can fill those labor shortages, then target those immigration programs or those places where there are significant labor shortages and the employers really have no choice but to hire you because nobody locally is available or not enough people are locally available. So that's a good thing. We'll see how things play out, especially at the end of 2024 when Mark Miller would have been in office for a year, to see if he's going to change anything major. But I think those numbers that have just leveled are going to go up. Also, they're not taking into consideration the immigrants that are leaving. Lots of people are leaving, and they have to replace those people that they probably would have wanted to stay. So let us see how that goes. However, I think immigration is catching on to the fact that sometimes when they bring people in, they're not necessarily filling gaps that they need them to fill. So I think they're going to get a lot more strategic. We're going to see this in 2024. They're going to get a lot more strategic at who they allow to come. And you can see that already in these express entry high numbers, that they're kind of targeting high skilled or people within certain categories to fill certain labor shortages, right? So you are going to have to get smart about it as well, because they are getting smart, because they realize that if they just bring a bunch of people, they're going to have to fill those people's needs, versus bring a bunch of people who are filling the needs that Canada has. Because that's what immigration is about. Immigration is about Canada. It's not about you. We are going to make it about ourselves as immigrants, yes, and do what's best for us and how Canada can serve us. But Canada is looking after Canada. Okay, so that is regarding the immigration levels change in 2024, 2023, and what to look out for 2024. All right, then we're going to talk about this proof of funds thing. So Kim brought it up in the chat. So I'm at that point right now where the proof of funds for studying in Canada just increased from $10,000 to $20,000. So it doubled, and it's going to be effective on Monday. Just let me know in the chat how you feel about this change. Also, like, if you were going to come to Canada in 2024 and this increase has messed up your plans, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 2 if you're still going to go ahead with the study route and you'll just figure out the money. And put a 3 if you had no intentions of planning to study in Canada. So 1, did the increase in proof of funds mess up your plans? Put a 1 in the chat. 2, Kim, you look like you're not really worried about it and you're going to still go ahead with the okay, number 2. So Kim is a 2, figured, right? And then 3, if you had no intentions of planning to study in Canada, so it don't really matter to you. So Kim, I'm trying to catch up here now. So you said you don't like the increase. I don't like the increase either. I think the increase is a true reflection of what is needed to survive in Canada. And that much is needed, yes. However, what the problem I have is how they went about executing it, because they could have updated it little by little over the last 20 years versus just do one double overnight thing. And I think that, before COVID, the cost of living wasn't as crazy as it is right now. So a lot has changed post-COVID, and they were busy focusing on COVID and, emergency, state of emergency. So they never really had time to pay attention to immigration, especially when they shut things down. But I don't like how it just happened overnight. But it is setting you up for better success, because it's the worst thing you can do is to think that you can come here with $10,000 and that's just gonna serve you, especially if you're not living with family, right? If you're living with family, you can get by. If you're not, it's tough, rough out there. So it's a true reflection of what you need. However, I don't like the execution. Execution was very, very poor. And they get a little bit of a leeway, like a little bit, because COVID was 3 years of having to focus on that and nothing else. So fine, whatever, government. So Kim is saying, yes, so this double of funds is in addition to the tuition, which is already high. Don't like the family connections requirement for Alberta and Manitoba. Fair, that's fair. Who has family in Alberta and Manitoba? Like, and yeah, you're gonna figure it out. Good, Kim. Good. Figure it out. I think that regardless, whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you need, that things will come together once you're determined to figure it out. So that's good. Now, the next big change is that there is no more extension on postgraduate work permits. That was something that they put in place, I think, because of COVID and how COVID affected the labor market. No, they're not going to extend any more postgraduate work permits, but I know a lot of people who are banking on that extension. Is there anybody in the chat right now who was hoping for this extension to save their butts in 2024? Anybody who was trying to get a postgraduate work permit extension? I feel like we have a lot of people in here who are not in Canada yet, apart from Edward. So I don't know if anybody new joined who is in Canada, but if you were waiting for the postgraduate work permit extension and are disappointed by it, let me know. What do I think about the truck driving course on a visitor's visa? Yes. However, let me double check here, because I think that the truck driver knock in the transportation category has been removed. Let's see. Yes. So coming to Canada to do the truck driving course, yes, if you can. However, truck drivers used to be on the express entry, and I'm tackling this now because I'm about to talk about express entry. So express entry this year changed, right? It changed from when it opened in 2015, where they had specific draws in addition to the regular express entry. So those specific draws are targeting the labor shortages and where they need people. So they had transportation, French language proficiency, healthcare, science, technology, engineering, math, that's one STEM, trade occupation, and transport occupations. And, transport truck drivers is still there. Okay. Earlier I think they met the cap for 2023, but maybe for 2024, they'll reset that cap for truck drivers. So if you can come to a visitor's visa, do a truck driving course, if they will allow you to, because I feel like to do the course, you might need to have a Canadian driver's license, but I don't really know. But if you can do that and then find a job by an LMIA exempt employer, preferably, or meet one of the category-based draws, yes. Can you elaborate on the postgraduate work permit extension? How did this come? So the postgraduate work permit extension during COVID, a lot of people were put on temporary layoff. Some people couldn't find jobs because of the lockdown. Some places weren't allowed to operate because they weren't in need. Different things affected students who were on postgraduate work permits being able to find jobs and to work to fill the criteria that they need to fill for express entry, right? So their postgraduate work permit, the length of the postgraduate work permit got messed up because of all of that. So the government put a temporary policy in place to allow people on a work permit their work permit was going to expire in 2023. They could apply for an extension and get an 18-month extension on their postgraduate work permit. So after December 31st, tomorrow, that policy is no longer in place and they can no longer extend their postgraduate work permit. Nobody can extend their postgraduate work permit. And if anybody who had a work permit was going to expire on January the 1st, like the day after the 31st, they weren't part of it. It had to be expiring in 2023. So now there were people who were waiting for that, hoping for that extension, because I know somebody whose work permit is going to expire on January the 16th, and they may fall out of status. By the way, if your work permit is expiring, do not let it expire and you're in Canada and you don't have any valid status. Apply for a visitor's record to be able to stay here legally and figure your status out, but don't fall out of status. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for that there, Marcel. So Marcel is saying it wasn't really an 18-month extension because, and I get it, so it's not an 18-month extension from the end of your work permit. Because if you applied for it in October, but your work permit was going to expire in December, you get the 18 months from the date is approved. So if it's approved in November or October, you basically are just getting that extension from when it was approved, not from when your permit was going to expire. So yeah, it's a false sales tag. It's not really an 18-month extension. Thanks for pointing that out, Marcel. Good point. Tuning in from Kenya. Hi. All right, so I'm going to continue, and then we're going to come back and forth to the questions in the chat. Okay, so I spoke about the proof of funds increase, postgraduate work permit extension, backlogs. Now, in November, at the end of November, when they did their whole announcement of the immigration targeting levels, they did say that, they are aware of the backlogs. They are putting more systems in place. So they're training and hiring more people and putting some automated systems in place, which is something that you guys need to be keen on. Automated systems and AI in the system to try and help to reduce the backlog. Okay, so they are working on it. There is never going to, the first question that came in here actually before it even started was, when will the backlog be cleared? We don't know, right? But we know that they are working on it, and they are very transparent, so to speak, with what the backlogs were at the beginning of the year. And now the graph is showing that it's coming down, right? A lot of people are getting kicked out of the system by way of being rejected, which is the problem with automated systems and AI. So you really, really, really need to have a strong application to make sure that these automated systems and this AI doesn't kick you out unnecessarily. I know somebody who's gotten 2 study visa rejections, and the reasoning was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, which is kind of just, to me, like, okay, AI or an automated system, just not a good. So have a strong application. So backlog, they're saying in it. They're trying, and we'll see how things play out. It looks like they're dealing with the backlog. Now, express entry. Now, this is, like I said, one of the biggest changes was they added the category draws to the express entry, which is good, because then people with specialized skills or people that can fill the needs of Canada can get compared against themselves and not have a carpenter be in the same pool as a doctor and hope that the points are going to somehow capture both. It's unlikely. So with the category draws now, everybody who is in a specialized category, they are just kind of measured against themselves, and usually the points in the category-based draws are lower, which is good. So if you are in healthcare or transportation or trades or STEM or French, that you have a better chance of being picked in the express entry pool. Now, the thing with the express entry now is that over 2023, it was all over the place. All over the place. The points are up, the points are down, and there's no draw for like 4 weeks. And then they do a back-to-back draw of like 5 days. Every day was a draw. And I saw that think that started in like about July, August, September, October, November, they did that. And so there's no predicting when the draw is going to be, because they started out saying there's going to be a draw every 2 weeks or something like that, right? But now there is no figuring out which direction it's going to go in terms of the points. You don't know when a draw is going to come, and it really feels like a lottery with no lotto play date. Now, if I was in the express entry pool in 2023, I would not have gotten an invitation to apply because my points were about 490 when I got picked in 2015, right? I would not have enough points now, and I would be scrambling to figure out what am I going to do because it doesn't work. This is a key indicator for anybody who is here already. Let me know in the chat if you are currently in Canada on a postgraduate work permit or studying. If you're already in Canada, put a 4 in the chat. That was what it was, right? 4. Put a 4 in the chat if you're already in Canada, because I don't want you, or even if you're planning to come, don't put all your eggs in the express entry basket. That is the lesson that we need to know from 2024. Don't put all your eggs, 2023. It's not 2024 yet. Don't put all your eggs in the express entry basket because it's unpredictable. The points are high, and I think they're high strategically to get the people that Canada needs to fill the labor shortages that they're trying to fill. So for the general draws, they're going high. And then for the category-based draws, which they have designed for the labor shortages, are going low. So if you're not in one of those categories, I foresee high scores that we don't know when are going to come down. Okay. So that means that if you're not, of course, some of your eggs in the express entry basket, because you never know what's going to happen, and then distribute the rest of your energy and attention into other programs, because as people who are already in Canada, you have an edge over the people who are outside of Canada for the employers that are LMIA exempt, like employers in the Atlantic Immigration Program, rural and northern programs. If you're French speaking, any of the Francophone communities, you have an upper edge over people who are not in Canada because you have status and you're already here and you can start, right? Which is more attractive to employers. Not that they won't hire people outside of Canada, don't get me wrong, but for the people that are in Canada, you can start immediately. You don't have to worry about the paperwork, all of that stuff, right? So put some of your eggs in those baskets because express entry is not a sure thing, especially if it's so unpredictable. Now in January, they may do like some back-to-back draws to clean out the pool. And so we'll see how that goes, if they're going to go low just to fill the quota for 2023. But yeah. Also, is express entry the alternative to express entry the PNP? PNP is an alternative to express entry. When you are in the express entry pool, you can also be part of a provincial nominee draw, but you can also target specific provinces and submit interest for the PNP separate and apart from express entry, right? So that's definitely another alternative, but it's also part of express entry. So which is not bad, because if you get a PNP, you're definitely going to get picked in express entry because you get like, I think 600 points for having a province nominate you, right? Yeah. So Kim is agreeing that we should not don't depend on express entry. Don't put all the eggs in that basket. Okay. I see you guys found some friends in the chat there. Some people from Trinidad found their friends. That's good. I said STEM is one of the categories. Yes, STEM is one of the categories. STEM is one of the express entry categories, and there are a number of occupations under STEM. Let's see how many occupations are under STEM. Not a lot, but yeah, architects, engineers, computer information people, cybersecurity specialists. That's a big industry that's going to really, if you're in cybersecurity, it's a good place to be. Engineering managers, land surveyors, landscape architects, web designers, urban planners, mathematicians, scientists, lots of STEM category occupations is a special draw for express entry. And in terms of the points for STEM, they'll go. So the last STEM draw was 481 points. I mean, the category draws are not super frequent, but it happened at least once a month. 481, so they're in the 480s, which is relatively low. If I was in STEM, I would have get picked. I would have make sure that I was in STEM, really. So that's STEM. You asked about STEM. Yes. Any employer in the 4 provinces exempt from LMIA? No. So LMIA exempt employers in any of the 4 Atlantic provinces are on the list of designated employers. If they are not on the list, they are not LMIA exempt. They can apply for LMIA exemption, but target the list. There's about 1,200 employers on the list. So there's about 300 or 400 per province. Target those employers first. That's your path of least resistance, right? And then in the rural and northern provinces, or rural and northern towns, or what do they call them? Like, I forget. Communities. The communities in the rural and northern program, those are in different provinces. So there's multiple in Ontario, there's one in Alberta, a couple in BC. Those employers there are LMIA exempt. They are not on a list. It's just that the community says, okay, yes, to the employer, you can give this person a job. So that's a good one too. That one closes in February, as far as we know. They may extend it. I think they're going to extend it, because on the immigration targeted numbers, they had numbers for those pilot programs. So the rural and northern, the caregiver program, the economic mobility pilot program, and one more pilot program. They had immigration levels for 2024, 2025, and 2026. So I think they're going to extend some of these pilot programs. Right? So that's good. That answers your question, Kim. I got an ITA when the score dipped by a little bit. My score was, congrats, Marcel. Yay. Good for you. And were you in any special category, Marcel, or were you just Canadian experience class? Let me know. Good for you. So Edward, I was supposed to apply for a home support worker pilot, but I have not gotten a job offer, but I'm planning to go back to school for nursing. Okay. Well, you haven't gotten a job offer for the home support worker, but you can still be looking. Still look. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row, right? So have your World Education Services education credential assessment and have your English test thing done, right? If you're doing any of this, guys, if you're applying for jobs in Canada, be ready to get a job, okay? Which means you have to have the things that are going to be needed for immigration: your education credential assessment, your English test, anything that you can have ready to go, so that if you do get a job from an employer, you can actually say, yes, I take the job, and you can get things going immediately, right? Waiting for World Education Services or English is going to slow things down, okay? It's going to slow things down. So do I do consultations? So I have a club where you get group coaching calls from me to help you along your immigration journey. Now, you can join the wait list for that now. It's going to reopen in January, and I have a lot of exciting new things in January and I'm going to talk about later on. But you can join my group coaching calls, or you can talk to me for 20 minutes on a Thursday. So all that is on my website. On a Thursday, you can do a 20-minute talk with me between like 10 and 12:30, I think, if you want to do like a one-on-one quick chat. And you can join my club and be part of the group coaching, which is very beneficial for hearing questions from other people, hearing solutions that they have come up with, and you guys talk to each other. I think a couple people are in here saying that they're from Trinidad. So Alphas is also in Trinidad. Alphas, hi. Looking forward to connecting soon. So you guys meet friends, all these wonderful things, and know where you guys are. And it's helpful to have like a community, a little supportive community, so you know that okay, you're not alone in the journey. Because sometimes it can be feel very isolating when you're thinking that you're the only one that got rejected or the only one that is kind of trying to figure this out, and you're not, right? So join community and have amazing connections. And then if you want a one-on-one immigration consultant session, then I do have a immigration consultant that I partner with who will do the one-on-one consultation with you to help you to make the decision and give you legal advice as to what your next steps should be. So you have all kind of options here. If you do want consultation, let me drop this link in the chat here. I'll drop this link in the chat if you want to do a consultation, Kim, and get off of the fence, off of the two or three fence. You're either going to school or you're doing something else, right? Come off the fence and then do that. So I'm going to jump to the question at the bottom here because I just saw it. What services does Minerva provide exactly? So this, how it works is that you'll do an initial consultation to determine what your needs are and to assess your eligibility for whatever program, right? So you'll do that. Then after that, she can do your full application for you. So she'll get all the paperwork done for you, submit it to IRCC, and be in communication with IRCC and see you through to the end of your application being processed. So that is, she can do a full package service. She can review your documents if it's that you want to fill out your own stuff and just have a second pair of professional eyes look at it. She can also just review your documents. She can apply to school for you because she has the so there's Dream World Travel and there is McBean Immigration Consulting Inc., both of which are owned by Minerva, and they can apply to school for you, get through to school for you, all of that, process study permit application, and help you with settlement services. So they can do everything. There is a video that is done that I can share with you in terms of what Minerva can do. But that is a great question, Angel. Thank you for asking that question. Let me drop that video in the chat real quick so that if there's anything that I did not mention that she does, you will have a great idea about what she does. Here it is. You can watch it later. Don't watch it right now. There you go. All right. So that is that question. What does Minerva do? Going to go back to the questions in the chat here. My study is in law and paralegal. Any law offices? So you're asking if any law offices need people? Likely. It depends on where. I can't say no. But I'm pretty sure that there are some law offices in some of the RNIP Rural and Northern Immigration Program communities or an Atlantic Immigration Program. I'm currently working on a job list. If you are interested in having access to a list of jobs, because right now you can find the list of employers, which is 1,200, and you can go and search for what kind of jobs they have. Just because they're on the list doesn't mean that they are hiring. Okay, so now I have a team working on finding the employers in the list who are hiring, what the job positions are, and the links to the job positions so you can apply. So we've started that list. It's going to be available in January if this is something that you are interested in or you need access to. Of course, it's going to be a paid service because I am paying for it to be built. So it's going to be a paid service to have access to this list. So there's that link there if you want to go join the email list for when this is ready so you can have access to it. The first couple of people who already signed up will have like a discount to access the list. And then after that, everybody's kind of paying the full price. But you'll have supportive services alongside the list. You'll have the job list, you'll have a resume course, you will have training videos as to how to use the list, because it's not so much to just have a list of jobs and just shoot your resume off. That's not effective. You need to know how to apply to the jobs, how to research companies, different things to make your job search successful. So if you are interested in having access to that job list or needing access to the job list, we're starting with the Atlantic Immigration Program and targeting just those employers right now, because that's where I think you'll have the most success as people outside of Canada. And then we can expand as we go along. Yes, actually. So people who are now a part of my club, right? There is, hi, Raquel, great question. Now that you are part of the club, you are going to get early access to the list. So I'm actually going to be emailing you guys at the end of, after this live thing, and you guys will have access to the first iteration of this list that I'm building of the employers that have jobs in New Brunswick in certain industries. So you guys are going to be the first to test it, see it, all these wonderful things. If you're already inside in the club, like if you're already in a club, you're in there. You can't. There's no way to join the club right now. You'll join the wait list to start in January. But people who are currently in the club will have access to the list. I think I skipped over some questions. Let's just make sure that we covered all of the wonderful things about 2023. Express entry pool, yes. January category-based jobs. French-speaking people basically have a free ticket into Canada as long as they can find a job. And when I say they can find a job, they don't have to work from a list of employers or nothing. If they can find a job in any of the Francophone communities, which surprisingly Toronto is a Francophone community. Like Toronto is on the list, right? If you can find a job in any of the Francophone communities as a French-speaking person, you have a free ticket into Canada, like straight to permanent residency. Like not even having to worry about this whole express entry, nothing. It's like a direct path to permanent residency. So if you guys are in your home countries right now, and if the whole changes to the proof of funds for study ruined your plans, take the money, go learn some French, and get your free ticket to go to Canada. It's going to be so much cheaper to just learn French than to try and study in Canada. I promise you. So if you have some time and you want to do that, please just learn some French. There are companies that will do French. I think it's French Alliance. See what the thing is and see if you can just pass the test. Because the thing is that even though you're doing this whole Francophone thing, French speaking thing, it doesn't mean that you're going to come to Canada and have to talk French or work in a company that does French. Some of them do. Some of them require you to be bilingual. So just don't cheat the system and just not know the French. But you just need to pass the test and you can work in an English speaking company in a French speaking community that's not really French speaking. You know what I mean? Yes, Alphas. I love it. Like, thank you so much, Alphas, for giving some information out on the club. Once you are a member of the club, you get the discount services through McBean Immigration Services. You get a discount on your consultations or immigration applications. There's so many perks about being part of the club. And as I told you, I'm going to talk about it later on, but there's more things that are coming, more professionals that are really well aligned with your needs as coming to Canada. So let me just tackle the questions in here. Thank you so much, Alphas. Keep it up. Let's see. I'm going to go back to any questions that I missed. Sorry. Can you apply for PR from holding an LMIA job work permit? It depends. If you have an LMIA work permit, you can join the express entry pool, and with enough points, then you can get PR. If you can apply straight through to PR, it depends on if this is a case where it's maybe fitting one of the immigration programs that is direct to permanent residency. Usually LMIA gives you additional points and you are most likely to get an invitation to apply in the express entry pool if you have an LMIA job offer. Most likely, nothing is guaranteed, but yes. I think they will extend. Yes, I think the rural and northern immigration program will become permanent. I do. I see talks about it, and I think it will become permanent. Knock on wood that it does, you know. Which is in demand more, trucking or personal support worker? I think personal support worker is in more demand than truckers, but That's just a very loose assumption of mine based on no data. I think personal support workers are in demand, and how you know too is that not only so express entry draws are showing, the category based draws are showing where there are shortages across Canada. However, there are special provinces that are making their own category based programs. So Alberta has its own program that is targeting healthcare and I think not STEM but tech, somewhere there. Right. So I think that just seeing that, I would want to say, okay, maybe PS like healthcare is a little bit more up there than the trucking, but it could be equally as demanding. Hopefully that answers your question. Guys, give me a thumbs up if this is at all helpful to you. Hit the like button if this information is helpful. And if you're not yet subscribed, consider subscribing and sticking around for more helpful information like this. Samantha, how do you find companies hiring accounting finance sectors with Canadian training, in particular QuickBooks? Oh, that's very specific, Samantha. First of all, you want to just get to the list of employers, to find the list of employers. Start there. Then try to identify on the list who is an accounting company. That's not very easy to identify. You wish that companies would just name themselves. Like if you find my channel, as told by Canadian immigrants, you know what it's about. Not all company names have that. So you're going to have to kind of narrow down, like maybe target special companies that you know of, or you're going to have to do quite a bit of research. My job list will show you which industry the company is in. So right now you'll see construction, and you see the company name, you'll see the job offers that they have and the information to contact the employers. So I have construction, I have healthcare, I have general professional services. So if you do have access to my job list, then you'll be able to say, okay, this person is in finance because we're doing that research for you. Can a dependent come on me with an LMIA work permit? I believe so, yes. I believe when you have a work permit, even though it's closed, a closed work permit, you can have your family come with you, children and spouse. Your spouse will get an open work permit, which is really good, and your children can come. Canadian experience class was a general draw. Okay, Marcel, good for you. Good for you. General draws went as low as 400? Really? Good for you, Marcel. Congrats. It's so relieving when you can just say, all right, this part, once you get an invitation to apply for permanent residency, half of your worry is over. Because citizenship is like, okay, you just wait and then you just do it. But once you get the permanent residency, you can breathe for a little bit. You can sleep. You don't have to worry. So good for you, Marcel. How to find customer service representative jobs? Most of our persons inside Canada. Yeah. Like Canada is making immigration the way it is because of Canada's needs. Customer service representative jobs or personnel don't need any significant training, any specialized training, or anybody can do them, basically, to some extent. And so people in Canada, especially students or people who are probably trying to work a second job or something, are going to be going for those jobs. So the likelihood of you finding a customer service representative job is slim, especially for somebody who is outside of Canada. It's slim for somebody who's outside of Canada, where the government has said, yes, you are allowed to hire this person. No, there may be customer service representative jobs for people in Atlantic provinces or the places that they have special immigration programs around. I wouldn't bank on that necessarily because, like I said, the employer too has to want to bother and want to go through the botheration of the paperwork that it's going to take to get you here to do a basically minimum wage job, right? There's a lot of work that somebody has to do for that. So I would say if you're looking for something in customer service, probably target an industry specific one. So maybe a healthcare specific customer service rep, or targeting the Atlantic immigration programs, or seeing if there's something else that you can do that is more specialized than general customer service rep. Like, I wouldn't be looking for a customer service representative job specifically. That's kind of like a backup plan. Try to get more specific and narrow down some more. And that's something that we can help you with as part of the club. Okay. I answered that question. In regards to the SP application, what's SP? If an applicant has a friend in Canada who can provide them with accommodation free of study permit application, SP, okay. Accommodation free of cost, would the applicant still have to show the proof of funds? As far as I can tell you, is that proof of funds is what it is regardless of your situation. No, there may be some leeway if you can show on a letter of explanation or an affidavit of support saying that your living accommodations will be covered by this person and this person is financially able to continue to house you for X amount of time. That's definitely tricky, and you don't necessarily want to, unless there's some monetary value that the person can attach to saying that I will provide X amount of support in this many dollars of the sort to kind of add up to the 20,000. But I wouldn't say that, oh, well, I have free accommodation, so I don't need to show the $20,000. No, I wouldn't say that, because they're trying to protect, as far as Mark Miller is concerned, protect you guys from being homeless and then putting it on Instagram that you can't find homes because you can't afford any of the homes that are in Canada, right? So I think that, Diana, it will be a really solid, you have to have a really solid application if you're not going to show all the money. I don't know if I would bother to try and do that without the money, because you don't want to just waste money getting rejected, right? So I would get together with an immigration consultant to figure out how best to craft an application with maybe not as many funds, but backup to show that you don't need that much funds. But it's immigration, and especially if they're doing automated systems, that automated system could flush you out before it even gets to a real person. Just my 2 cents. I have no proof of that, but automated systems are flushing out people who saying they don't have proper proof of funds, even if they do. Okay. So an immigration consultant can better help you to put that together if you don't have enough money, but you still want to try. I think you should use a consultant. Interested in the list? Cool. The link to the list is up in there. I'll put it here again. I think that's it. Yes, the list to show interest in having access to the list of the job list. Okay. Definitely interested in the list, especially for the guidance council and education counselors. Okay. What about accounting? I don't know, Charnette. I'm not sure what your question is or where it came. I guess you're asking if I will have accounting jobs on the list. I will have any job that's available in the industries that are available in Atlantic Canada. And I'm starting out by targeting construction, healthcare, and professional services. And some professional services may cover companies that need accountants. So maybe. Would paralegal be a good course to study? Are paralegals in demand? I don't know. I can't answer that specifically, Kim, because I haven't done any research around it. So anything that I say would be guessing. If you're going to study something, I guess because you have a background in law or something like that, right, Kim? I would, if I were you, do some more research to figure out if that is in demand, and then maybe try targeting those less populated provinces like Atlantic Canada, the rural and northern places and stuff like that. What about banking jobs? Still can't tell you. Banking jobs are actually, I've spoken to people from TD, right? Because there's somebody in my club who is in bank, and I was trying to see if I could get his resume to somebody. And like teller jobs and those frontline bank jobs are hard to come by because they're easy to fill. within the Canadian labor market without even having to go outside to people, right? So he was able to get an in, and sometimes these positions are part-time and sometimes they're not, full-time hours, and all those stuff is very, very, very all of these programs have specific requirements around the kind of job that you can get. It has to be full-time, paid, all these wonderful things. And a lot of frontline work in banks, some, not all, are part-time. Are they in demand? I think that there's a lot of people in Canada that can fill those jobs. Yeah. Would you say social services is an in-demand field? I don't know. I think it depends. I am seeing where in Atlantic Canada, some of the healthcare places are looking for social support worker-ish like jobs. So it's not necessarily like social support worker, but it could be like community something that is in line with social worker. You're going to have to get creative about how you're looking for jobs in terms of the job titles, because it may not be social support worker or social worker, but it could be the same kind of requirements, but just has a different title. So you're going to have to get creative on that. And if you're a part of the club, I can teach you some strategies on how to get creative with searching for jobs. Kim gets a prize for participation, guys. She's hot in here. I'm going to leave here knowing your name, Kim 88. What happens if you are on a postgraduate work permit and you don't get PR, or if you don't get selected from any of the pools? Perfect question, Kim. And this is kind of in alignment again with what I had said about people who are banking on an extension. If you are on a postgraduate work permit, you're in the express entry pool, you don't have enough points, like many people right now, and you don't get selected, you need to pivot and pivot fast. The thing is, right, I want you guys to be proactive. You're here now. Here's an information session. I want you to be proactive about distributing your options and not just banking on express entry. If you're in the pool and you realize that you don't have enough points from the get-go, you need to have a backup plan. Target an LMIA exempt program, like the Atlantic Immigration Program, rural and northern programs, and seeing if, since you have to get a job anyway to be on your postgraduate work permit, if you're willing to relocate, go and work in one of those jobs, and those are direct path to permanent residency. Have a different plan, a backup plan. If you're in Canada, you're on a postgraduate work permit, it is about to expire. The most you can do is apply for a visitor's record so that you can legally stay inside the country. Once your status expires, you must leave unless you have something else to show that you have valid status in Canada. So you apply for a visitor's record. A visitor's record is not a visitor's visa. A visitor's record is like a work permit or a study permit, where it's a piece of paper that says your status in Canada is a visitor and you're legally able to stay. It's not a travel document. So if you're on a visitor's record and you need to leave Canada, you need to apply for a visitor's visa, okay? Unless you have a valid one already. But a visitor's record allows you to stay legally inside the country. Like when my mom came to Canada during the pandemic, she came on the day the border closed and they told her she cannot stay. They told her that she needs to go back to Jamaica. So we got a lawyer on the case because we had 24 hours before she had to leave. And what we did was to submit an application for a visitor's record so that she could stay. And that's what you need to do if your permit is expiring. So you have time to figure out another plan. When you're on a visitor's record, then you can say, all right, let me target one of these programs, Atlantic Immigration Program, rural and northern. Let me go learn some French in 3 months, whatever the case is. Usually a visitor's record has 6 months validity. So that's what I would say that should happen if you are about to follow up a status. Target another program. Don't bank on express entry. But that's a great question, Kim. Yes, you will get a prize, Kim. Just make sure I have your information, right? I don't know if you're on my email list already. If you are, send me an email. In fact, let me just put this in here. I'll put you my email address here so you can send me an email so I can reward you. There's my email address. Just send me an email so that we can get connected afterwards. My friend wrote me a letter saying that I will live there, but you need that money. Yeah. So just for the person who asked about the proof of funds for the $20,000. So here is Raquel, who is in Canada right now as a student, who is living with somebody, but she still needed to show the proof of funds. So that is her live and in color example. Show the money. How do you show a common law relationship for study permit application? We don't live together currently. That's tricky. Usually, common law, they're showing that you live together and you have a legitimate relationship. That's a very specific question. I would redirect that to a little bit more research, but also the immigration consultant who can then help to guide you as to how to show that relationship status. It's tricky when you don't live together, but if you have joint assets or a child or something, that's helpful. I did spousal application, spousal sponsorship application back in 2018, and I did none of it on my own because it's a lot of paperwork to prove the legitimacy of a relationship because there's a lot of people who are just marrying for papers. So I can just say to you that when I had to prove that, I just got somebody to do it for me because it was too much paperwork. And it's hard sometimes. Do we need to marry before the study permit? No, I don't think so. And I don't think that you should make that decision for the sake of immigration. I think that there is ways to prove it, but just get somebody to help you with that application, an immigration consultant. Minerva can help you with that application to show the proper thing. But I don't think you should get married for that, like make that decision for that reason, for immigration. Don't do it. My spouse is a plumber with over 10 years experience, but he doesn't want to do the IELTS, right? He doesn't want to do okay, yeah. I'm thinking it's a better chance of him getting a job than me. He needs to do the IELTS anyway. So if he doesn't want to do it, then his chances have just been cut by a lot. Every immigration program is going to require you to do English test. Now, if you are the primary applicant, then you can probably get away with it, where he doesn't necessarily need to do an English test. Thinking that he has a better chance, maybe not, depending on what your is. And I don't remember, Angel, if you had put in here what you do, but get creative with what you are looking for if you also have some sort of a skill. And then you be the primary applicant if he doesn't want to do the test. 10 years of experience, like there's no like magic grant because you have a lot of experience. That's going to be dependent on the employer, but usually it's like 1 to 3 years or 1 to 2 years experience. So it's not necessarily a big deal that he has 10 years experience on the optics of immigration or whatever. But you be the primary applicant, Angel. You bite the bullet. You can do it. If you need help to figure out what kind of job, join the wait list, join the club. Let's figure it out. Please consider us about proof of funds, whoever will help us. I don't know what you're saying, Loretta. Donnell, am I saying it right? Daniel. If you are, see, we have a virtual community, right? So you don't necessarily need to have somebody in Montego Bay, but you can be part of our virtual community, and we can, once we start back in January, we meet weekly to provide you with support. So you can exchange notes and get support. And you can always have this replay to watch again, because I know I'm going pretty fast. Loretta, I don't know what you're asking about proof of funds. Please consider us. I'm not sure what you're saying. About welding jobs, would that be in the construction field? Maybe. I don't know. I think a welder. So welders are trade occupation, and they are actually on the list of category-based draws, right? They're on the list for category-based draws for trade occupations, and the points for trade occupations are usually pretty decent. Let me look for the last one. Trade occupations 388. I feel like that's the lowest one that I've seen in a while. So if you are a welder, you can prove that you're a welder and you can join the express entry pool. You are part of a specialized draw, and even if you have low points, you'll probably get picked. And I think that welding doesn't, I don't know if it's necessarily construction. It might be in manufacturing versus construction in terms of industry. But if you're welding on a construction site, so it depends on where you're working to determine the industry. How can I reach an immigration consultant from outside Canada? So Samantha, we have an immigration consultant as part of my network. Her name is Minerva McBean, and you have access to her through me. You can get discounts depending on where you are in my community to be able to consult with her. And also, once you're part of my email list, you can be, I guess, keep up to date with whatever next Minerva and I are doing on social media, so you can get a taste of her and stuff like that, and join our club, and you can get to consult with her. Even if you're not in our club, you can consult with her. But yes, that's how you get it. Angel, I'll give you this link. Not Angel, sorry, Samantha. There's a link to get access to the immigration consultant. Okay, Samantha. Natasha is asking, will there be any for social worker since that fall under healthcare? On the job list, there are positions that are, so let me see, healthcare. There's registered nurse, personal support worker at one company. And this is me looking at the list of jobs that I currently have. There's a social or recreational program staff. Yep, there are personal support workers on the list here. And I'm sure that will stretch across different provinces, right? So, and, oh, sir, social worker. Hold on, did I answer that question right then? Social worker. I feel like I answered that question a little bit earlier, but so, like I said, social workers may not be called social workers. Some of them will be called social workers in terms of the job description or the name of the job title, but the description could be the same. So yes, there will be different jobs that will fall under the umbrella of social worker. I applied for school and will put in my study permit application soon. I just weigh my options about school or the job route. Okay, good for you, Angel. Do you need ITS to apply for an LMIA job? You need the IELTS for your PR application. So it depends on the route. I don't think that you need to prove that you need I don't think you need the English test or French test to get that job and to get your visa. But if you're going to go through to permanent residency, that's where you need to have your English test, or if you're trying to do any of the other immigration programs. But if you have an LMIA, then I don't believe that you need an English test, but I'm 80% sure, not 100%, but I don't think so. And if you can get an LMIA, Des, I want you to reach out to me and let me know that you got it, because LMIAs are not free cake. Weighing my options. Can I apply for a study permit while I'm in Canada visiting? Yes, I believe so. I believe you can. Westmoreland. Hello from Westmoreland. Figuring it all out. Yes. Well, you're here and you're getting the information. I'm proud of you guys for showing up. I'm considering getting my qualifications evaluated, but unsure if I need to apply to West or get my transcripts organized first. Either or. I mean, you can go through the process and give West the application. Then after you put your application in, you're going to need to request the transcripts from the school and have the transcripts sent directly to Wes. So in order of sequence, I would do Wes first and then the transcripts, because transcripts are not sent to you. As far as I know, they are sent directly to Wes, and you'll get that information once you finish your Wes application, and you'll have the application number for when they send the transcript. Wes can say, okay, this matches this application. So Wes then transcripts. And it's valid for 5 years. So if you're serious about this, Dion, just get it done. Oh, look, Angel, you have friends in Westmoreland there. I'm interested in joining the community. Cool. Make sure that you're on my email list or connected with me on my website so that you'll be in the know. I've been following you before I came in 2019. Hi, Charm. Thanks for sticking around. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Charm. Thank you. And thank you for being part of my community and still being here. Let me know. So you're here now, Charm. Are you a permanent resident? Are you on a work permit? Let us know how your journey is going. Sent the email. Perfect, Kim. I'm interested in joining the club as well because I really need some guidance to get started. I don't want to spend money to do something that may or may not need to do. Fair. Yes. What are your thoughts? Is the price Tim Hortons? So Alphas visited Canada from Trinidad and fell in love with Tim Hortons. I'll send a picture of Tim Hortons for you, Alphas. What are your thoughts on age, especially with studying? Immigration, when they're assessing your application, they're going to think about, okay, is this person legit? Are they really trying to go to school? Is it in alignment with what they have done in the past for it to make sense? The only thing that I would think about, Kim, with age and studying is to make sure that if you're trying to target express entry, that the older you are, the lower your points, right? The prime points are between 20 and 29, 100 points. Each year after and before, you lose 5 points, right? So once you pass 30, you're losing 5 points every year. And then it stops at like 45, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure that if you're trying to study as a route, that it makes sense, that you can see a direct path to permanent residency given your age. Unless you're trying to study and then target one of the other programs, which in any case, you don't really need to study if you're trying to target one of the other programs, but it's easier if you're already in Canada. But there's a lot of things to put together with regards to that. Okay. So we've been going for sometime over an hour, which has been really, really good interacting with you guys, chatting. People have come in and dipped in and given their input. That wraps up the Q&A, unless you have more questions in there. So here's what's coming in January and what you guys can look out for. So right now, actively building a job list. I am not trying to build a job list for all the employers on the Atlantic Immigration Program. I'm targeting industries, targeting specialized skills, and also building a job list that has enough jobs on there for you to be able to start fishing around on. So you'll have access to that job list in January. My club members, current club members, will have access to it in this coming week. I will send out an email at the end of this talk here to say, okay, guys, here's page 1 of the job list. Look at it, vet it, let me see. So you guys are going to get early access to that if you're already in the club. If you're not in the club, don't worry. We will reopen in January. Right now, you can join the wait list. So you go to astoldbykenyanimmigrants.com/join the club. And then you can join the wait list there and be informed and keep informed when things open up back as to what offerings are. Like I said, we're going to have different tiers of offerings. So if you just want to have access to the job list and kind of just figure your way out, that's definitely going to be, of course, a cheaper option, and it will be available to you. If you need my support and the support of my career coach and Minerva, the immigration consultant, then we will have that too in terms of an offering. And in January, I'm going to introduce you to a new career coach who is a Canadian immigrant and who had 90 days to find a job or leave the country. And now she helps other people who are seeking jobs, looking for jobs, and mostly in their field and trying to advance in their careers. She helps them to do the same, find jobs, and really establish themselves in Canada. So I'm going to introduce you to her in January, and we are partnering to be able to support you guys in your journey of trying to either get to Canada or stay in Canada if you are already here, and not just stay in Canada but thrive, right? We don't want you guys to just prioritize immigration. And I know that that happens, and there is a stage where that is relatively appropriate, but over time you're going to need to be doing what feeds you, what feeds your pocket, what feeds this crazy housing market, and that's something that we can help you with, getting into your right career and all that stuff. So I'm excited to share her with you and share her story with you, so you can look out for that coming in January. Also, from any of my Jamaicans, anybody in Jamaica, any Jamaicans in here, put a 1 in the chat. 1 in the chat if you're a Jamaican. I know Raquel is Jamaican. Yes. Camille. Hi, Camille. Give me a 1 in the chat if you are from Jamaica. Angel, cool. I thought somebody else. Des was from Westmoreland. Was it Des? Oh, no, Davis family. Hello, Davis family. All right. For my Jamaicans, just last week, I attended a dinner that was hosted by the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council. Now, youth goes up to people in their 30s. So don't worry, it sounds youthy, but it's not just youthy, right? Kim is 35 now. Okay. Youth Council, and there's also the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, right? I connected with the Canadian representative. You're going to see his interview tomorrow. The first interview, his name is Stephen Gettin, and I interviewed him. His story of coming to Canada, he's now involved in community. He is now the Canadian leader, I want to say leader, the representative in Canada leading the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council community. He's doing amazing work. I just went to their Christmas dinner, and he has a lot of things coming up in store to support Jamaicans and friends of Jamaicans. So look out for that episode tomorrow on YouTube. It's the first episode of Stephen, and you'll hear from him every Sunday for 4 Sundays. So it'll start tomorrow, and then the following week you'll learn about the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, and people in my club will have early access to those videos, so you don't have to wait as somebody had requested in the club. So that will be good. And on Monday, January the 1st, I'm going to do a replay of the episode from the summit where we interviewed 7 immigrants. So that was a really good talk with 7 different people from 7 backgrounds in terms of how they came to Canada. They went to different places in Canada, and one of them left Canada. So you're going to see that replay on Monday, and I think it's at 9 a.m. It's going to be premiering at 9 a.m. on Monday. So look out for that as well, and hear the experiences of some people. They came, they saw, they conquered, and one of them came, saw, conquered, left. And it will be inspiring. It will be helpful for your journey. It will answer some of your questions, and it will help to set your mind at ease for some people who are kind of just fishing around, considering what do I do. It'll give you some ideas. One of them got a scholarship, so that's something that you can learn from in terms of where to target scholarships and how to get scholarships based on his experience. So look out for that on Monday at 9 a.m. So tomorrow you'll hear from Stephen Getting. Monday, you'll hear from the 7 immigrants. And then every Sunday in January up to 4 Sundays, I don't know how many Sundays are in January, but 4 Sundays from now, you'll hear from Stephen every Sundays, and club members will get early access. All right. So a couple of things in the chat here. Could you check about medical laboratory technologist job vacancies in Atlantic provinces? So the healthcare will be on my list of jobs. So for sure, if there are any that come up with there, that for the employees that we look for, they will be on the list. And I think that medical lab tech jobs are part of the specialized draws, the category draws for express entry. So that would be good. Security officer jobs, I haven't seen any yet. I'm not going to say no, but I haven't seen any yet. So we'll see. Kim, that's okay, 35. So it means that if you're going to go to school, make sure that if express entry is what you're targeting, that things make sense for you to go to school and then transition. If not, then consider one of the other programs. Keep your options open. School will give you that advantage of being in Canada and a work permit, and it will make it easier for you to target like Atlantic Immigration Program or any of those programs over somebody who is not in Canada. Okay, so all hope is not lost. Don't worry yourself. It'll work. It will work. It'll work out. Okay, but you're gonna have to get creative and not bank on express entry. Charm came in 2019, did a 2-year program in Ontario, currently on a 3-year postgraduate work permit, still in the express entry pool, trusting that God will be. Yes, I hope for you too, Charm. But I want to say just be proactive. Take some of the eggs out of the express entry basket and target other places, especially since you're on a 3-year work permit, right? So you did a 2-year program, so 19. So you'd have finished in 2021, right? Or 2020? 2021, and your work permit expires at the end of 2024. That's my math. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But be proactive. Don't put all the eggs in the express entry basket, and see what your options are outside of that can get you direct through to permanent residency. But thank you for being a part of my community and sticking around, Charm. Natasha, big things popping. I'm here for it. 2024 is your year. Yes, it's your year. Can't wait to see Minerva. Awesome. Make sure that you have the connections and the emails, all that wonderful things. Yes. Yeah, when I went to Jamaica, I visited Camila's kitchen and I entered the competition that they had, and I won the competition. So I won the prize at Creative Building Finishes. Yeah, that's me. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This was so good. I appreciate you guys for participating. Kim will be in touch. You're still trying to figure things out, so I'm going to give you my book, audiobook and ebook. You can listen to it and get some, some figuring it out, because it feels like you're interested in school, but you're also thinking about your age, all this wonderful stuff. And I'd love to help you to untangle that knot and kind of just say, all right, here's how I'm going to go. Thank you so much. Thank you to Camille for being here. Thank you for your time. Remember to tune in to Steven's episode tomorrow and then on Monday. I know nobody have work, so and partying is over in the nighttime. So tune in to the 7 immigrants, 7 different stories, 7 different experiences, and why one of them left Canada. I appreciate you guys. Remember to hit the like button if this was helpful for you. Subscribe if you are not currently subscribed to stick around, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.